Ginger Runner.
What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry here for another GingerRunner.com review. And today is a first from the Ginger Runner, reviewing a Merrell shoe. I can't believe it. It took this long. What? That's right, I am reviewing the Merrell All-Out Fuse. Alrighty. Yeah. First of all, I have to give special thanks to runningshoes.com for hooking me up with a pair of the Merrell All-Out Fuse. Good folks over there with all sorts of great shoes for you to go buy. So as I quickly mentioned, this is the first time I've reviewed a Merrell shoe. I can't believe it took this long. So Merrell's been in the shoe game for quite a while. They've had a number of shoes that have piqued my interest, most of which have been in that barefoot minimalist style. This is no exception. I would definitely kind of qualify this as a barefoot style shoe. It's not super minimalist, but it still kind of has that feel. They've gone away with the Vibram outsole. Now they have their own branded rubber outsole material, and it still works fairly well. It's pretty grippy. And I know I have a lot of Merrell heads out there, a lot of guys and gals that love wearing Merrell shoes. They swear by them, whether it's the Bare Access or the MIxMaster. But this is the first of the All-Out line that I've reviewed. This is the first Merrell that I've reviewed. This is the All-Out Fuse. So let's get on with this review with things I like and dislike about it. Lights. Barefoot feel. Despite the fact that they've added a little bit more EVA foam on this shoe, it still kind of has that barefoot feel. It has that minimalist feel going for it. So if you're looking to work on running gait, running form, this is a great shoe for that sort of scenario, whether you're running on a track, on road, or some soft dirt. It'll help dial in the form. It does have a higher drop, but the feel is still there. Speaking of feel, ground feel. You're gonna get tons of ground feel in this shoe. That's one thing that I was hoping they didn't lose by adding too much EVA. If you're stepping on little rocks, little pebbles, you're still gonna feel them. That ground feel retention was important for me, at least trying the shoe out, and I'm glad that they kept that. You still definitely get ground feel. Good for speed and form workouts. As I mentioned earlier, I think the shoe is good for those scenarios where you're working on form, you're working on speed, you're working on cadence. You just need a nice, small, tight little shoe that fit around your foot and helps you work on all those elements. I think this shoe is good for that. Durable. The upper is durable, the outsole is extremely durable. Even though it's not Vibram, it's still their own proprietary rubber. It works. It's very durable. Even for the number of miles that I put on the shoe, it's still barely showing any sign of wear, so that's good. But that is it for likes. There's a number of dislikes. High arch, and we're talking high arch. I don't know what's going on with the arch of this shoe, but it feels like someone's just taking a fist and rubbing it right up into my arch. You can't get away from it. I actually had to limit the number of miles I put in the shoe because it was so uncomfortable with such a high arch. Not that I have low arches, I don't have flat feet. I just know that the bottom of my foot is not this narrow. If you go from the width of the heel to the width of the midfoot to the width of the forefoot, this is all arch up in there. This midfoot area is so narrow on the bottom of the shoe. Everything is just pushing right up into the arch there, and it becomes very uncomfortable, at least for me. For those of you who have high arches, you're probably like, thank God, a shoe with high arches. Oh, I can't do it. Hot spots. Major hot spots going on underneath the tongue, and especially right here on the lateral forefoot. My little toes over here, so discomfortable. Discomfortable? It's just so discomfortable. A lot of it is because of this forefoot box. It's just surrounded by this really thick piece of synthetic leather material. Your toes can't stretch that. Your toes have nowhere to go except rub up against it for all of your run, and it becomes such a terrible hot spot. Dead feel. I have to say, because of so much outsole material, especially back here in the heel, the shoe, while flexible, it has a dead feel. It takes away that sensation of the EVA, so it just doesn't have quite as much life as I was hoping out of a barefoot minimal shoe. Lacing. The lacing system is really interesting on this shoe. Rather than having eyelets, the eyelets are comprised of these little synthetic bands that run across the top of the tongue and then back over the other side, so they can actually move one way or the other, and then the laces go through those and then pull them. Am I describing it? Is it even confusing for you? Then that's exactly what I'm getting with this. I never felt like I could lace these up evenly. No matter how many times I wore them, it became a problem and it became bothersome, and I got pissed off, and I don't want that in a shoe. The upper. As much as I wanted to like the upper in the shoe, it's not very breathable. I did a creek crossing in the shoe, got them wet, expecting them to drain really easily. Didn't drain at all. The upper is comprised of a synthetic mesh as well as tons of overlay, and I think a lot of that overlay contributes to him not breathing very well. Super thick tongue, so many problems. And finally, identity crisis. This is a weird one. It's a weird dislike. I haven't really done this for any other shoes, but this one in particular, I didn't know if it's a trail shoe or a road shoe or a road to trail shoe. I just don't know. And if you look at the outsole, it does come with lugs, but the lugs are just a little too big for road and a little too small for trail. And the whole outsole is rubber, so I'm not really sure if it's meant to go long on the road or short on the road or road at all or ultra. I don't know, and I don't think the shoe knows what it is. Do you know what you are? Freaking identity crisis, yo. Whew. All right, so that's it for dislikes. Let's get on with the points. Quality, I'm gonna give them 3 out of 5. I think that they made some choices in this shoe that don't really mesh well with my feet, so I gotta knock them down. Whether that's the upper, the full rubber outsole, the lacing system, I just think that the materials that they're using is not necessarily the best. Comfort, also 3 out of 5. I think that the dead feel that I get from the all rubber outsole mixed with this particular EVA doesn't really go for comfort. Plus the hot spots, plus the lacing system, all contributes to a sloppy feel on my foot. And that high arch. Ugh. Price at $110, you're spending more for less. It's one of those scenarios where I'm gonna have to give it 3 out of 5. I'm not really into it. And finally, looks. I'm actually kind of a fan of the looks of the shoe. I'm gonna give 4 out of 5 on looks. I do have to call them out though. The blues don't match. The blues of the mesh and the blues of the shoe don't match. They're like super close, but they just don't match. So as a designer, I go, come on. That brings our total to 13 out of 20. Not a great score, not a terrible score. I know that those of you who are used to running in Merrell shoes, I think you might get a kick out of the shoe. Try it on and let me know what you think of the All-Out Fuse. Those of you who have run in this shoe, also let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think of the shoe? Why do you like it? Well, that is it for today's review, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, like, favorite, share, and subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/thegingerrunner. I'm on all the social networks over on Twitter @thegingerrunner, Facebook, facebook.com/thegingerrunner, on Instagram @EthanNewberry, and of course, gingerrunner.com. I'm also doing live shows here every single Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where you can interact with us live, whether it's me or my guests or whoever. You can ask questions. It's crazy. It's the future. That is on this same YouTube channel every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the archives are always going up that same night, too, so you can always just come back and watch those, or watch any of my videos, for that matter. I hope you guys are getting out there, training hard, racing harder, and partying the hardest. I know I am. Hashtag train race beer. Guys, see you next time. Bye.